All right, good morning. Welcome back to day 13 trading Momo strategy in the sim. Let's take a look at the market first before I do any talking here. So something interesting to note is that after I got off yesterday, Bird ended up going up 1,000% from pre-market. So pre-market $2 up to $24. So I left quite a bit of money on the table by walking away yesterday. I did so because of my discipline. I said that I wouldn't trade a market open during trader rehab, and my emotions were getting to me a little bit there. So I was afraid that I would start trading irrationally and go further, and well, not further into the red, but lose my small green day that I had yesterday. But we ended up missing out on this opportunity, unfortunately. But hopefully it causes the market to be a bit hotter today. It did end up coming back down about 50%, back down to VWAP, but at least it's not a round trip. Take a look at ALGS real quick. It's popping up a little bit above the 200 moving average. Biotech stock breaking out here above 10. Problem is that it's pretty light on volume right now, and it's before 7 a.m. It is a type of stock that I like to trade usually, since it is a biotech stock with news. We have quite a few stocks up on the scanners today with a bit of volume. We have MYC, MYSC, that had a move after hours here. Now it's hovering around VWAP, so we put that on the side chart. We have WNW, which made a move pre-market, but now it's below VWAP. Don't see any news on it. And then we have ALGS, which is moving right now. That would have worked there from 1050 all the way up to 1150. I generally don't like to take trades before 7 a.m. though. The reason being 7 a.m. a lot of brokers unlock. So before 7 a.m. there's usually lighter volume because some brokers don't allow you to trade before 7 a.m. It is also above the price range that I'm willing to trade in a cold market. We'll see whether today I label this market as hot or cold. The scanners certainly show that it is heating up. But we'll have to see. S&P 500 is back at all-time highs, which is good. And US oil is starting to stair-step down, which shows that there's some confidence coming back into the market. There is potential for the market to heat up here today. So we are coming up to 7 a.m. here. Have to see what happens with the 7 a.m. spike in volume. If it breaks 12 or what it does here. We are forming an entry candle in the 2-minute. If it goes any higher, I have 1150. But worship or WSHP moving a little bit at the open here, but a bit too expensive for my liking, particularly. Something interesting to note is this AI catalyst here. I believe Bird was an AI catalyst the other day, and my C went up over 170%, 200% with an AI catalyst. So one thing to keep an eye out for. My C is our leading gainer right now with 3 million shares afloat. It pops up to 450 there. Trying to break right now. Break, so I'm going to take a position looking for the squeeze up to 5. Set a couple profit targets up there at 5. Should be the first pullback. We got significant volume coming in. I was 486. If we bounce off it again, then I have to get out. We break. Got some orders filled up there. Gonna take a little bit more profit since it bounced off of 5. We'll wait and see what it does. We take the rest. A little bit too heavy. We have to wait for it to pull back and give us another opportunity. Sold the rest around break even. Ended up being 1 cent below my buy price because it dropped quite a bit there. But a little bit of profit on that spike. So we have to wait for it to break high of day now. So I normally don't trade trade curling patterns, but the curling pattern on Bird worked yesterday, and we are heating up a little bit, and this one was moving very quickly. I ended up filling a little bit high at 468. Probably should have filled closer to 460 for the break of 450. But we got some profit nonetheless. We're holding the 20 EMA right now. Put an order up at 517. See if we can break the pre-market highs. I want to see a break and hold 5. Oh, 50. 505. 505 was the after hours high. Coming up to 5 here. We break. We hold some adding. Break 550. Take some profit at 550. I'll look to add for the first pullback at 550. Headed back there. We had some buying support off of 550. Looking for the squeeze up to 6. Take a little bit more profit at 580. We dropped there a bit too much. I'm going to scale out a little bit more. Stop is going to be 560. How is 590? Don't take the rest off. We're forming a bit of a shooting star in that 1 minute. So now it would have to break over 6 to get back in here. Put my order up at 6. It's not unheard of that we have a bullish engulfing candle over a shooting star. If we engulf it, then that's very bullish. But it's likely that it's going to come back down here now with that candle. We break 6. We hold 6. Seem to be holding, so I'm going to add 618, looking for the squeeze up to 625, 650. Not quite pulling away on this yet. We break down, so I'm going to take it off. Give back a bit of profit there. As I sold too soon, it pops back up to 630. But it's better than holding and hoping. So we are above our $25 cold market daily goal, so I can trade with full size on the next trade. I don't know if it's going to be this one though. We might leave this one alone now. Might have gotten our profit on it and call it a day and wait for fresh news because this one's trading a bit choppy. And now we have a gravestone doji on the 2 minute, a couple of shooting stars on the 1 minute, and we're forming a shooting star in the 5 minute. This one might be done. It is up over 300%, which is impressive. We'll have to see if it ends up coming back up to 650 again. So is there any way that I could have not given back profit on that trade? Maybe if I got in for the break of 6, since it broke 590, but I was just a bit wary of that shooting star. It took a bit longer to get in. I got in all the way up at 618, which was almost the top. Didn't take any profit because it was hovering around 626. Could have scaled out there though. We could have scaled out a little bit at break even since it wasn't pulling away. It probably would have been the better decision to scale out instead of waiting for it to come back up. Then I wouldn't have given back, I think I gave back 20 bucks, which is almost half of my profits there on my first 2 trades. But we're gonna try not to make the same mistake as yesterday. I'm not gonna get complacent about earning some profit. So we're gonna be very careful with our entries. We're coming back up here. Put a order up at 650. But considering the topping tails, and we have a gravestone doji on the 5 minute, I think unless there's a gigantic spike in volume that's going to squeeze out the bears, we're probably done with this one. Waiting for some fresh news. 7:30. One thing to keep in mind, for me to keep in mind too, by the way, is that on fresh breaking news, instead of trading with full size immediately, I might get in with half size and then immediately add if the trade works in my favor. So I might take a starter and then add. But for other trades where I can get in close to support and ensure that there's only like a 5 or 10 cent stop, then I can trade with my full account size, my $25 daily goal. So for a $5 stock, that would be like 150 shares. With my max risk of $30, that is. So one thing I'm going to have to do when I go back and I review my VODs is I'm going to have to take a look at whether it's more beneficial for me to, like, obviously it's more beneficial to cut my losers more quickly, but for my breaking news, or not breaking news, my high day squeeze trades there, like if I had just gotten out at 610, like it drops down 8 cents and it doesn't squeeze immediately, maybe it's just better to cut it, break out or bail out on high day squeeze too. Because I generally, like, I give them a little bit more room to move sometimes. 'Cause sometimes I get in and then it pulls back and then it goes up anyway. And also on these breaking news and high day squeeze setups, I can afford to give them a bit more room to move because we're usually looking at like 50-cent squeeze, 40, 50 cents. So 2-to-1 ratio would be about 20 cents. The only thing is I ended up getting out at 28 cents loss here on this last trade, which is a bit high because I suppose I sold at capitulation rather than selling as it stalled out. Perhaps that's my mistake. That's probably also why I flipped from green to red and then back to green yesterday. If I had just sold as it stalled out instead of capitulation, instead of holding and hoping, then I would have gotten back in on the next trade and have been green again, and then I would have had the confidence to get in on that highest squeeze of the day, and then I would have been up. Might have decided to trade the open, and then, like a snowball rolling down the hill. It's interesting to note that we're kind of stalling out around this daily level here. $5.93. Next daily level was up at 720. 718. Whatever. Better. Just looking at Ross's stream, and it seems that he kind of did the same thing as me, except he scaled out. But he got in a bit lower. He got in for the break of 6. But he ended up selling his last block of shares at 590. Breaking up above 6 again. But it is almost 7:30 and got too many topping tails, so it ends up being a rejection. You'd have to see it break 641, break over 650. But I think we're waiting for news now. Caps popping up, might with a penny stock. It's just 2025 year results. I said I might consider trading or testing the waters with penny stocks, but we'll see. This one's got some topping tails though, and it's only fiscal year 2025 results, so it's not really a great catalyst. It has a lot of volume though. This is the signature of a hot market. Pops up from 75 all the way up to 90 on a penny sub $1 stock. Quite interesting. That's a lot. That's a lot of volume. That quickly. A million shares of volume in the first few candles there. It's interesting how even a penny stock right now is squeezing up with millions of shares of volume, even with it's just earnings headline. Like it's not. This is a stock that has just sold off over a long period of time and even had to reverse split once to regain NASDAQ compliance. So, if the market is hot today, there are going to be more opportunities. So we just have to wait. I'm not getting in at caps. Not testing the waters with it unless we see something very obvious. But I have a feeling that after that move, it's going to come back down with the headline. It is kind of forming an obvious bull flag right now, though. It doesn't quite matter, though. Ends up projecting off 120. Since the news wasn't strong enough, it didn't hold up. IC is bouncing off of the 5-minute 9 EMA a little bit. Forming a bit of a curling pattern here. So I do have to pay attention to my C because yesterday on that curl, it suddenly squeezed up on bird really quickly, back up to high and squeezing through the high. So it could do the same thing again here. Have to wait and see. If it moves quickly, then Caps is curling back up, but I'm not really interested in it after that sell-off. I see still bouncing off the 20 EMA on the 2-minute, which is so the 9 EMA on the 5-minute. Slowly curling up in MACD. Breaks that pivot of 570, then you might see it rally back up. A double bottom down there at 525, and it's coming back up. 9 minutes to 8 a.m. What it does here. Increasing volume on the 10-second. Break 570. Doesn't have the strength yet. We reject the second time off of 580. MACD turning positive here. Back to negative MACD. We'll see. If it holds 550 here and comes back up, then we're stair stepping back up. But close with a topping tail on the 5-minute again. It's quite a bit of resistance up here. he turned positive again, and we're curling back up again. See what happens. Worship popping up there a little bit, but I'm not really interested in it. Too expensive. Haven't confirmed that it's a hot market yet, so I want to still be careful with high price stocks. Willing to trade them. They are, but put it on a side chart, but it looks a little bit choppy. It's close to high of day. I don't know. I think it's a little bit riskier to get into a high price stock with this type of news. 12:56 a.m. news. Hmm. Ended up working from 20 up to 20, 23, 22. And then big seller comes out and it drops down 3 points. EKYI popping up. Another penny. This one has the 200 EMA at 75. My C curling back up again. Projecting off 570, 580 again. So 8 a.m. news. Let's see if we get any news here. Don't see any news. AMD GNX popped up from 56 all the way up to 150. It's an acquisition. WSHP is forming a bit of a hammer or a dragonfly on the 5-minute. I have 2274. I think I'm hands off of this one. You got a seller popping up. It's too expensive. There's going to be better opportunities in this. I say that and then it's going to pop through 24 and go all the way to like 30 or something. Yeah. I say it and it happens. But look at that rejection from 30 all the way down to 26. That's why these are so risky, because they can drop 5 points in an instant. The high of that candle was 30.77. The low was 26.11. It's $4.50. I would have still made money if I got in for this break of 24 and took profit up at 30. But they're so risky that it's difficult to manage your risk on them. We are definitely in a hotter market though with that move. Like what is this news? We will need capital market support while weathering through tough competition. Like that doesn't sound like bullish news. It's a meme stock. So the fact that meme stocks are even moving like that is a pretty good sign for the market. But I can't touch it. Can't manage risk on it. The meme stock That's really impressive. Holy smokes. Yeah, this is definitely hot market behavior. I agree. Spooky. That's crazy. This is literally a meme stock and it's moving up this much. It's up 300%. Like the the news catalyst, we will need market support. There's no reason for this to go up this much. Hindsight is 2020. I wish I got in down here, but can't can't manage risk on it. Yeah, I hope so. I think I think this AI catalyst or this AI theme might be a thing, considering we had Bird move up 1,000% yesterday and during regular hours with the AI theme. And we have Micey today with this .ai theme moving up almost 300%, even though it was just a rebrand. So hopefully it sticks around. I have a feeling that it will, but I don't want to jinx it. I'm not sure. When I thought about the PDT rule change, I didn't think it would affect that much because retail traders would be the main ones benefiting from the PDT rule change, since it's just a revision of the pattern day trader down to $2,000 that mainly benefits retail traders. It's not in effect yet. So, like, retail traders are only a small fraction of the total volume in the US market, like a very small fraction. Like, we're a grain of sand. Maybe it has some effect in small caps because the big hedge funds and stuff don't usually trade here, but I'm not sure. Like the S&P 500 is back at all-time highs here, and it's been going on for a few days before they made this announcement for the PDT rule change. Since the ceasefire, it gapped up, and it's just been going higher, and now it's back at all-time highs. U.S. oil has just been going down, kind of stair-stepping down now. But I think some confidence has come back into the market, and I don't think it's solely from the PDT rule change. It could have an effect, but my opinion at least. I hope we get some more big moves today, though. I hope we get good news. Uh, because I really fumbled yesterday, and I want to make up for it. But trying not to dwell on yesterday, but I have to reel myself back and just wait for something good. Because although this has gone up a ton, this is a meme stock. Can't touch it. Want something that's not a meme stock. Yeah, hopefully. Thankfully, Bird wasn't a complete round trip. It popped up all the way up to 25 and gave back half, but it's still above VWAP here. But came back down to VWAP and it's been holding it, so it wasn't a complete round trip. But we'll have to see. I'm hoping that that Memex seller, that spoofer that's been around for the past 2 months got super burned on this stock. We don't see them again for a while. But maybe that's too optimistic. I hope something goes up like 10,000% and then it just blows up their account. It might be evil of me to say, but get rid of the short sellers, please. I've had enough of them. They've had their glory for 2 months now. It's time for the Bulls to regain control. Yeah, it's supposed to be illegal. I wonder how they've been getting away with it for so long. That is true. Especially recently, rules have kind of been determined by people with money, unfortunately. This is selling off now. Might see coming back up. Considering how much selling there's been up here, probably won't be interested in unless it breaks 640, 650. Yeah, I've seen some stuff about that. There's a lot of evidence of that happening, and nobody's really doing anything to stop it, fortunately. If that keeps happening over a long period of time, it will eventually erode trust in the market. But I'm sure that this has been going on for a very long time, the insider trading. Maybe not as obvious as it is right now. It'd certainly be best if the SEC could investigate some of it, get rid of it, and or if they could make a rule to disallow trading, insider trading in political office. That would stem the bleeding a little bit. There's still like some insiders and companies themselves uh, that will get in on the action before news is released. It's not just political office, it's like everywhere. Well, I wonder if the brokers even care. There are some brokers that do care, like Interactive Brokers has that rule. I forget what it is, like rule 144 or something, where in order to trade on their platform, you need to do a verification process with them, or not trade on their platform, but like if you enter a stock that moves at more than X amount in a single day or has X volume, more than X volume in a single day, then they stop you from selling your position and investigate you to see if you have any affiliation. So there are some brokers that care, but I wonder if the majority of brokers even like care if the people on their platform are insider trading, because then they make money. So I guess it depends which broker you're talking about. Like there has to be some broker that's letting that spoofer run wild and they don't care. And it should be very easy for brokers to detect spoofers, because if they throw their bid up on the ask on a bunch of stocks constantly, or their bid their order up on the ask constantly, like 10 cents, 20 cents above the ask, and leave it there and then keep pulling it away. I'm sure that they have software that can detect that kind of behavior, but it's been going on for so long that the broker clearly hasn't stopped it from happening. Oh yeah, I agree. For the brokers, that sort of long-term ideology would be best for them to have. I agree 100%. Unfortunately, it's been a little bit a part of culture recently to kind of ignore the future and think about short-term gains. Uh, Not to be a downer or anything. It's kind of the way things have been. A lot of these companies, even that we're trading right now, they find ways to inflate their stock price that doesn't really have any real value. Like certain things like share repurchase programs and buybacks and stuff like that. Like that doesn't add any value to the company, but it shoots their stock up in the short term. And there's a lot of people, especially in political office, that don't think about long-term repercussions as much as they do about short-term, like right now. Don't really want to get too much into politics or anything on stream, but it's been culture, kind of culture recently. Even like gambling, right? Gambling and prediction markets has been taking off recently, but that's all short term thinking. Like none of that is long-term thinking about how that could affect the economy. And I certainly hope so. Good to be optimistic. Five minutes to 8:30 here. I hope we get some more good news. But even if we don't, $25 on the day is cold market daily goal. If I get another $25 tomorrow, then at least I can break even on the week. And then next week it might heat up. And then we can start going for some hot market daily goals. I hope. Yeah, that's true. And that's probably part of the reason why they do it. I think that there's some ideology that if you inflate your numbers while the economy is cold, and then when it's hot, even though at some point, like if you rearrange your books, like at some point that stuff needs to be realized, right? Like if you take profits from future years and put them in current years, or if you had profits that you delayed from before and put them into the current year expenses or whatever, then when things heat up and there's a lot of buying and your company's going up and there's actual results that they can show, then those delayed statistics will not look as bad in the future. Kind of like timing the market, I guess, timing the economy so that your books look more consistent. That is definitely a practice. What is this? QVCGP? No, down 11%. Bird. Bird kind of bouncing off here. 200 EMA. Icy curling back up. Let's see, we're coming back up to 570, 580, where it was rejecting pretty hard before. Looks like it rejected off of 570 again here, but it's holding the 10-second 9 EMA. I'm just going to wait for it to break 590. It is 8:30 here in just a minute. So if this doesn't curl up quickly, then it might have volume stolen from it if there's news that comes out. Bird is also making a bit of a move right now, stealing some volume here. Not really interested in buying Bird off of VWAP here, considering high of day is 10 points away. or not high of day, high of the previous regular hours. So we're kind of doing a bounce off the lows here off VWAP. It's a bit more expensive, a bit riskier. Let's watch 8:30 and see if there's any news. Info popped up. Any stock? The break of $1 would have actually worked there. For a test of doing a breaking news penny. It's got quite a range for just a penny stock. If you buy the dip, if I bought the dip at 109 up to 120, that's 10 cents just off its range alone. Interesting. Watching these. Five seconds left on that 1 minute candle. It turns out to be high volume selling. See, this is the only issue that I have with penny stocks is that you generally have to get in them with higher share size, but this actually rejected off of 130 and dropped down 15 cents in an instant. So that means that your profit target on these would have to be like 30 cents. I don't know if I can reasonably expect 30 cents on every single penny stock. Maybe I could take into account the range and then trade with a little bit lighter volume. I don't know. It's coming back up to 130 though. Even higher volume. I'll try. I'll get in for 130. Stop is 125 for the squeeze up to 140. A little bit of selling. A bit too much selling. See? First time I got in, it would have worked if I took profit immediately at 140. It squeezed up from 140 or dropped down from 140 down to like $1. 40 cents on a penny stock when you have to take bigger share size is just not good. I'm going to take this one out of my statistics just because I wanted to try it. Because I don't usually trade penny stocks like this on breaking news. Even if I had one on it, I was going to take it out of my statistics anyways because I'm not going to trade this with real money. It's too risky dropping down that much like that. This is generally bearish, right? Like this type of pattern here on most other stocks. It rejected, but it still came up and engulfed the previous candle and broke through. So we should have seen more capitulation there, but instead it just rejected off of 140. The reason why it did that? We're also in a big window here. From 130 all the way up to 195. The news doesn't seem that bad. $100 million equity facility and earnings. I don't know. Sometimes it's like it's hard to read these pennies. Maybe. But this isn't like it did sell off, but high of day is all the way up at 360. It's not like one of those stocks that has had a billion reverse splits or anything. I don't know. I'm gonna keep an eye on these pennies though. Maybe that was just bad luck. Like every other penny today has been going up 100% or more. Yeah, that's true. Topping tails on the daily. Yeah, this doesn't bother me at all though. Like this is just a test. So I'm sticking to my plan here. Treating the day as if I'm still at $26. CDT. High day is 678. Got very light volume though. I have to wait. 3 million share float. Oh, the daily looks awful. I don't know about this one. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on the pennies. Um, I'll try trading them, but I'm gonna take them out of my statistics and just keep like a side note on them because trading them could be good to build up my account. I might not trade it like Ross does eventually when I get to a bigger account. But penny, you can make a lot of money with pennies on a small account if you choose and pick the right ones. I think, especially when it's a theme right now. But I'm not sure what exactly to look out for here to ensure that I like pick the right penny to get into, that it doesn't do this kind of jackknife. I'm still unsure like what exactly in CDT or was no, yeah, it was Onfo. What exactly in Onfo was wrong besides like I guess these topping tails on the daily. I guess it's kind of maybe has too much range. I don't know. Good looking daily. I tried trading stocks around dollar a little bit. Uh, like I've traded nothing below a dollar before. This is the first time I've considered something that was like it popped through a dollar. Like it started at 90 cents. I've traded it if it was above $1.50, getting closing in on two. Like back when I first started trading and I didn't have very good success with it. So I just kind of assumed since Ross doesn't trade them, maybe I should just leave them alone. Yeah, this maybe this first rejection back here was a sign for me just to not touch it at all. So it when it broke through here, it broke up with even higher buying volume. So maybe if I'm more selective with them and just I saw it like I did see earlier, like it dropped from 130 down to 114, like a 15-cent drop. Maybe if I see that, I just avoid it completely. So CDT ended up selling off there. Yeah, it curls back up and then somehow it rejects with even higher selling volume. On the 1 minute, double tops, rejects with 2.8 million shares, selling volume. Kind of crazy. Probably just an unlucky pick on my part. Or I didn't take enough stock into this first rejection. I think even Jess in Ross's community, I think he trades penny stocks too. Quite a few traders in his community that also trade penny stocks and they make money on them, so and Jess likes trading with small accounts. I think he says I've seen some of his interviews and he said that he likes to drop his account back down to a small account every time it gets to a certain amount. So that probably fits his strategy a little bit better since he's not like Ross trading with a $300,000, $500,000 account sometimes. Yeah, that makes sense. It depends entirely on your strategy and how well you're able to execute it and how disciplined you are. I'm sure that there's some people that they trade Momo, but they trade like 5 cent moves. Like they buy dips and then they sell 2, 3 cents high, and then they buy dips, they sell 2, 3 cents high, and they just constantly do that. They do that with a commission-free broker, and they make money on it. I'm sure. Yeah, I would be interested in that experiment. Maybe if he does another Q&A, we could ask him that. Trade in the sim and just trade everything and see what happens. I feel like he wouldn't though, even if we asked him to do that. I think he has too much pride to trade in the sim. I remember watching one of his videos where he talked about some of his biggest losses, or like the day of his biggest loss, and he was thinking about he considered like sim for trader rehab, but he said there's not really any way that he would do that because he would think that he looks like a fool trading in the sim as if he doesn't have confidence in his strategy. So let's see, it breaks 140 here. See if it rejects again. And lo and behold, Kind of, in a sense, though, it wouldn't be a perfect experiment since the way that you would trade in the sim would be different than what how you trade with real money. You would think that if you were to just trade with real money, you wouldn't throw your money at like just everything that's moving. So without a strategy, like a specific strategy to rein him in, how would you approach that trading like multiple strategies at the same time? And how would you simulate it so that it's as close to how you would trade with real money as possible? Because there would also be like if you include short selling as a strategy, for example, he doesn't trade short at all because he's scared that there's one mistake that would entirely blow up his account. So you could trade short in the sim, but I don't think short has it doesn't sim for locates. You can just short anything. And then I mean what else? If it were just like long bias, trading everything long biased, I don't know. That would be something for him to sort out, I guess. That's why I don't touch it. Even if you trade with a small account shorting, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to end up on the hook for more money. It's like very risky. You're definitely gambling if you're trading something. Like, I bet you that there are some shorts that got absolutely smoked on WSHP today. Like, realistically, there should be no reason this stock goes up to 44 or 40. Yeah, it went up to 42. Like, I bet you there's some shorts that we're shorting right here at 30. Then it goes up to 40, or somewhere they're shorting here. It goes up to 40. Like, if you even take 100 shares of this and it goes up 20 points, then you're on the hook for like $2,000. Kind of like with gambling, there are some people who make money gambling, but um, the question is how long do they make money for? Statistically speaking, if they trade for a long enough time, eventually they're going to lose money. They're going to lose that money back. With short selling, it kind of feels similar because you could go years without making a big mistake and losing it all back. But you still might have drawdowns where maybe you're making a little bit more than your drawdowns every few months. You might earn 1,000 and then lose 500 in a single trade, earn 1,000 over a month. ATXG popping up here. Give me a second. Coming up to the 200 moving average at 840. Do we break 850? The Chinese stock, I don't see news on it. Yeah, bounced off of the 200 moving average there. Yeah, and that's the analogy that I was getting to. There are some people that make money on shorting. I'm sure there are, but they short the right stocks. They have a strategy and they know where they have an edge. But for most people, it is gambling. Like a lot more gambling than long, than if you're trading long, because the amount of losses you can accumulate is there's no upside. If you've seen that video where Ross was considering shorting and by some grace of God, he didn't get filled and the stock gapped up to like 500 from $20 or something, he could have lost his entire account in a single trade or his entire lifetime earnings in a single trade. Trading 1,000 shares goes up to $500 in a single halt, you're SOL. But probably most people who short that make money, I'm guessing they probably trade large caps where there's enough liquidity that they can get out of a position and they can set stops. But yeah, the first time I saw that video, uh, where I considered the actual consequences of shorting like a Chinese small cap stock, I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm ever touching shorting. No way. AGRZ popping up, another penny, but it's a higher float. Like this one is also popping up 60%. A rejection from 70 down to 65. And a bit of a window here. Break 72. I'll see if I can take a position here. Just testing the waters here. Stop will be 62 here. If it breaks below VWAP, then I get out. You get out a capitulation and it goes down quite a bit. But once again, maybe I should have just respected this topping tail. The news isn't that great either. Foreign Form 6K or foreign private issuer flow was a bit higher. BTOG popped up 80% in a single candle here. Room up to 16. I have 693. Yeah, that's an interesting way to think about it. I agree. If I could see the future, I'd be a billionaire. But I'm not, so I would love to be able to predict halts that go up 500 points and just make me a millionaire instantly. That'd be great. So this seems to be another Chinese company with no news. Popped up to 7, dropped back down all the way to 5. It's 9 a.m., so see if anything else pops up here with news. Yeah, that's what I usually do. If I trade pennies at all, like I trade them VWAP setups. But the problem is that actually, because of like when it's super hot and pennies are a theme, it's almost like which one was it? Penny on foe, not on co. Like you almost miss most of the move. Or which one was the one earlier? It was caps. Like you missed the biggest part of the move here. Like it pulled the first time it actually did a 1 minute pullback. Like these technically aren't really 1 minute pullbacks, not red candle pullbacks. First time it actually did a proper 1 minute pullback with a red candle, it just rejected off 120. So if you don't get in like on the pop, then you miss this whole thing. Maybe yesterday there were a couple pennies that had proper 1 minute pullbacks. It would be a safer option, sure, but not sure. So BTOG does have news. What is the news? Strategic financing, AI. So it's an AI catalyst, actually. $33 seconds left on that 5 minute candle. I see that seller popping up there though. This actually would have worked from 550 up to 6. But I'm not entirely sure. It's not trading very smoothly here. Rejects off of 6, comes back down 550. We're in private issuer news as well. We are up over 100%. That puts us at our third leading gainer. Hmm. Holding the 9 EMA a little bit. I had this previous candle with 625. Looks like Ross took a trade on this and ended up losing. I thought he was up on it. I think he took a trade around here for this flat top break of 550. It would have been the best area to get in just for some quick profit, but stock is trading so choppy, so I decided not to touch it. Right here would have worked. But other than that, yeah, there wasn't really anywhere else I was willing to get in. Considering this huge topping tail. I think he made money on it on 550 here, and then he gives some of it back. I wasn't really watching or paying that close attention. I think that's what happened. But it makes sense why he would trade this. I mean, it's another AI catalyst. Like you would think that after breaking up, it would maybe come up for a retest of high of day. Yeah, maybe some FOMO. Like this type of price range, like this $5, $6 price range with a 1 million share float, being one of the top five leading gainers and also having news that fits in line with a theme, like this would normally be the type of stock that I would want to jump into right away. But it is also Chinese, and just like how do you trust it after it goes up to 7 and then drops all the way back down to 375? Kind of crazy. Feel like someone is in the Hong Kong headquarters just pressing the sell button. I don't know. We have last chance for news at 9:15. Otherwise, I'm just going to take the $25 or the $26 green day. I don't know if I'm going to trade at market open. Considering I'm still kind of in trader rehab for Monday and Tuesday, losing at the open. If I stayed around for the open yesterday, Bird would have given me a lot of profits. I'm not sure. Well, we'll see what happens here in the next 20 minutes. That's what it feels like. It also feels like China is very in tune with what the themes are in the US stock market, at least in small caps. So they like to release headlines that are in line with the theme so that they can just dump it. It seems to be how certain themes get exhausted. People pick up on like what people are buying, like what the themes are, and then they just release fluff news that kind of sounds like the theme. And over time, traders eventually realize that the themes aren't working anymore because there's so many fluff headlines. Like I'm just curious. Let me read what this headline is here for BTOG. Strategic financing to explore expansion into AI computing and data center services. It announced that it has secured strategic financing to support the exploration of potential expansion into AI driven computing. Yeah, it doesn't give anything concrete here. It doesn't say what the amount of the financing is. And it just says that it's potential expansion. It doesn't say that it is. I don't know. Seems like a fluff headline to me. Yeah, I think I was tired on Monday. That's partially why on Monday my trading at the open didn't go so well. It was either Monday or Tuesday, where I was just sitting around like all day doing nothing, practically doing nothing, and I was already tired, and I was just like, let's see if this will work. And it didn't work. Best to stop if you're tired, and there was nothing going on for the entire day. I agree with that. 9:15. Let's see if there's any news. Yeah, I came in. I started trading uh with Ross around the time that the private placement catalyst was working. I think that was like must have been like September or October, but I remember that too. I didn't really understand what themes were that much back then though. I didn't take yeah, really take the opportunities as seriously. It is much easier when there's a recognizable theme though. Like just the fact that the stock had AI in it, like AI computing, that's why it popped up from 3 all the way up to 7 instantaneously in a single 1 minute candle. The algos know. Yeah, now I think it's AI prediction markets was another one. AI prediction markets and penny stocks are kind of the theme right now, I think. military stuff has been like hit or miss. There was one military catalyst that did really well, having to do with like drones. But before that, the military stuff wasn't doing so well. Yeah, and now we have, at least I have a timeline for when I want to start trading with real money again, which is when the PDT rule changes. Because with the PDT rule change as a Canadian, now I'm going to have access to direct access brokers in the US without having to deal with that $25,000 pattern day trader rule. So instead of going back to my Trade Zero account, which I don't really like Trade Zero that much, but it's really like the only option for Canadians that's has a decent execution speed other than like Centerpoint Canada. Centerpoint Canada requires a $25,000 account size though, and I'm not willing to put that much money in while I'm still barely profitable. And then there's, well, Ocean One is banned in Canada, or at least in Ontario. I I can't use Ocean One. Interactive Brokers has that rule 144, which potentially having your position held while you're in a stock is just a big red flag. So I can't. So really, the only one that I have is Trade Zero. Other than Quest Trade has a new platform coming out, Quest Trade Edge. I think they have Quest Trade Pro coming out, and it's in beta right now. But its Edge platform that's currently available is absolutely awful. That's what I began trading with when I traded back in September with a commission because they were commission free. They have, but they didn't have proper hotkeys, and their level two didn't show halt levels, and it was just slow. So I had to switch to Trade Zero, but I don't even like Trade Zero that much. So when the PDT rule changes, and maybe I can get access to some better US brokers that I can start maybe a $2,000 account with to start trading with real money again. Yeah, that's the only thing is that if you have 2K or 3K available to access, like if the 2K is the minimum, you probably put in like 2,500 or 3K just to make sure that you don't go below it, and then you're on a margin call. But the problem is that that money is even there to be accessed. Even if you only trade with like 10 shares or like 20 shares or something, you're probably going to be paying commissions on them. And then also, if you go off the guardrails, you get tilted and you just start trading with bigger and bigger share size, that capital is available to lose. So that is the only problem. So in that sense, commission free brokers, like overseas commission free brokers that you can just put in like $100 in and call it a day and trade with like one share, 10 shares is definitely a lot better for someone who is new and isn't quite confident yet and hasn't really experienced the emotions of the market. Yeah, Ross Ross really likes that one trade a day thing for students as well. And since the broker enforces it, then it forces you to be more disciplined. I've never done that, the one trade a day thing, since Quest Trade was like a cash account that had settlement. So it had, I think it had instant settlement. So you could trade as many times in the account as you wanted, as long as you had the funds for it. And Trade Zero Canada is the same. So I've never done the one trade a day thing since I'm too impatient of a person. I just want as much experience as possible as quickly as possible, even if it loses me some money. Then that's as long as it's money that I'm willing to lose. You know, like when it goes into the account, you treat it as if it's out the door. Um, I'm too impatient to do the one trade a day thing. I want experience, kind of the way that I've seen it. But the more I've been trading, the more I realize that now 1 to 3 trades a day are really all you need. Unless it's a really hot market and you can start increasing the number of trades to like 5 or 10 on a single stock that pops up, or like a few good stocks that pop up. Really, there should be no reason to trade more than like 5 opportunities per day. So 1 to 2 in a cold market, like even just one is fine. For Ross's small account challenges, though, um, I think it's more than just the fact that he can't make very much money. It's also the fact that his small account challenges during a cold market just don't get views. He's talked about that before, how some of his small account challenges don't really get too many views. So there's not much point in him doing them if nobody's watching them and he's earning like $100 a day, like in these small account challenges, or like $50 a day. So he can still make money during a cold market. It's just that he would rather, if he's not going to get any views and there's not much point in doing it, he'd rather trade in his big account. At least if he trades with 10,000 shares, if he can maybe make like 5,000 a day or something, or like 2,500 a day. Whereas if he's trading in a small account and he's making like $50, nobody's watching it. But relatively speaking, like my cold market daily goal is 2.5%. That's not nothing. In a hot market, it is 4 times, so it's like 10% per day. I think his daily goals are similar. I think he said he has $5,000 daily goal or a $20,000 daily goal in a hot market. So 4 times his cold market. 5,000 if he's trading in like 100,000 account. It's like 5%. So if he could make, if even in a small account, if you make 5% per day, it can add up. It can add up over time. Yeah. So like just as a just as a food for thought, I guess, a lot of days during a cold market, like there's quite a few no trade days that he's had here recently, even. So like if he's not releasing daily recap on his cold market daily goal, people are, or yeah, cold market daily goal for a small account challenge, people just aren't going to watch it because it's going to be like sometimes 2 or 3 days in between recaps, and viewership slowly declines like on that particular series, because that's the way he trades, is that he only trades A quality setups during a cold market. He might only get one trade in a day, or he might get like one trade every few days. And he even tightens his selection for a small account, I think. I think he said he trades like three to $10 for his small account, whereas his bigger accounts, he is willing to trade the higher price stocks if they're moving quickly. But he's looking for very specific stocks when he does a small account challenge. And then by nature of a cold market, the profits they're not going to look amazing, right? Like imagine a small account challenge in a hot market. I doubled my account in 2 weeks. Like people are going to click on that. Small account challenge, like, oh, well, I doubled my account in 2 months. Or maybe not double my account in 2 months, but maybe like, oh, I got 5% this week or something because it was too cold. Like, people just don't watch that. People like seeing big numbers and being in awe of his skills, I guess. We're coming up to the open here, but I don't think that there's really anything that's worth trading at the open. Maybe Micey. As it is our leading gainer. Has some support there at 475. 450. Bit of about 570. I don't know. Maybe if I see a red to green, I'd be willing to trade it. I don't know about high of day break considering there's so many rejections up here. $524. So it would have worked for a really fast scalp from 550 up to 570 if I had just sold immediately, but that's what I was worried about is this rejection up at 570. Thanks, Spooky. I'm probably not even going to take a trade here anyways unless I see a red to green, so thanks for stopping by again. Yeah, have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. So it looks like we're just kind of selling off here at the open. There's not really anything else that I'm looking to trade here. BTOG is just kind of selling off. Had news. Onfo just gapping up, but it's too cheap for me to trade a dip and rip on it. Give it a little bit longer. There's still potential for a red to green here for this pivot at 486. The break back through VWAP. Maybe a break above 5. So now this is sold off a bit too much, I think, because it blew past all 3 of these resistance levels here. Or support levels, I mean. So I don't think that this one is coming back up anytime soon. So Onfo dipped and ripped into the next halt of 158 here. So it would have worked for a dip and rip, bigger share size. It's a bit riskier because penny stocks have very tight halt bands. So if you get in on the dip and it suddenly sells off, then since the halt bands are so tight, it can halt down really quickly sometimes. I don't really want to get caught in a halt to the downside or lose 20 cents on a penny stock at the open today. None of these really seem that great. We didn't really have anything new that came out with news today. So I think I'm going to call it here. Come back tomorrow. Hopefully, since the market seems to be heating up a little bit, maybe we get a wild card move on Friday. Up $26 today. These 2 were experiments on penny stocks that I'm not going to include in my metrics. I entered the trade whether I won or lost with the intent to remove them from my statistics because I don't usually trade pennies below $1 or pennies below like $1.50. So I just wanted to test the waters with them a little bit while I'm still in the simulator. And going forward, unless I decide to officially incorporate them into my strategy for like breaking news setups, I'm not going to include them win or loss into my metrics. So today is a $26 green day, excluding the penny stocks, which is my cold market daily goal. I'm still going to label today as cold because we didn't have any real news that popped up, but considering the amount of activity that we've seen, I'm guessing that we're going to start seeing more news headlines popping up soon. In which case, going forward, maybe starting next week or tomorrow, depending on the activity, if the activity continues for multiple days in a row, then I'll start labeling this as a hot market in my metrics. But I'm going to call it here. Thank you to everyone who was watching today. I'm signing off. So take care, stay green, and I'll see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. same time. Peace.